We're covering how Canada is going to outsmart the Chinese trade trap. You don't want to miss this episode.
When the world's two biggest economies square up for a fight,
China.
the biggest headlines tend to be about tariffs and really overt economic policy, like the way China has throttled the export of critical minerals America needs.
I don't want them to play the rare earth game with us.
But I want to show you how you don't even need to go that far to tip the scales in your favor. Case in point, the #1 agricultural export in the United States. Last year, these were worth almost $25 billion to American farmers. Politically, also worth their weight in gold. These tiny beans are grown primarily in the American Midwest, where even in blue states like Illinois and Minnesota, farmers themselves are overwhelmingly Republican red. This is Trump's base.
If you think the US-China trade war is old news, then today there's another wrinkle. While Ottawa and DC are grappling over trade negotiations and policy, Beijing is quietly tightening its grip on Canada raw materials. And those are the very resources both countries need for ongoing national security. Stick with me to the end because I will show you how Canada, if Canada plays this right, I'm going to show you how they can really come across as the swing power here and come across with a great new leverage over some of the big world powers here, including the United States and China. Like, without a doubt, Canada holds some of the major playing cards here, so you'll want to pay attention to what exactly they're holding. So Canada is holding critical minerals, energy resources, and maybe most importantly, they're holding geography, and those things can't be taken for granted. But China, of course, has been investing billions of dollars in some of Canada's most crucial resources, Canadian mining and Canadian processing of those rare earths. So when the United States pressures Canada to pick a side, it's not just politics, there's more economics to meets the eye. This really is about who controls the materials of the future, and Canada holds those. The question is, who's Canada going to side with? Those resources are used in batteries, they're used in computer chips, and they are crucial to the defense industry. So the real test here isn't necessarily about trade and tariffs, it's more about leverage. Can Canada use this moment to really assert itself and not be bullied by either one of the world powers? Can Canada position itself as an independent broker and have enough control to call its own shots? Or is Canada squeezed by both China or the United States and forced to take a side that they don't necessarily want? Of course, viewers from Canada, you've got some insights here. You're already aggravated by the bellicose vitriol from Donald Trump and some of the people inside of his administration. I get it. But I'd much rather see you pay attention to another portion of the story here that you really do need to figure out, which is who is your long-term adversary and who has been your long-term partner for hundreds of years. And while there's occasional flare-ups between the relationship between the United States and Canada, tariffs, yes, I understand that. Maybe the long-term and more menacing threat happens to be over the Pacific Ocean and a militaristic, communistic country that has the ability to put the screws to anybody who controls manufacturing, controls processing, who controls military-type aspirations. And if you're uncomfortable with that, well, you should be, because you see, China and Russia, North Korea, are not the type of players neither the United States nor Canada, or the free world for that matter, really wants to deal with. And while Canada is the flavor of the month right now, I'm curious whether or not China has plans for that Canadian relationship. And maybe, just maybe, Canada sees not just today and the temporary pain that they're going through with the United States, but maybe they see what the long-term plans of China is and how China could very easily turn themselves into a situation where they're manipulating Canada as they try to manipulate the rest of the world. So if Canada can more or less start building relationships with the United States, Japan, South Korea, Australia, then you're onto something much bigger. And of course, keeping those U.S. partnerships strong, because there is an economic relationship between the two countries that just can't be denied. And of course, we share the longest border on the planet. And I will say that it is a demilitarized border because of the good relations we've had over the years. And while I understand the considerable amount of frustration Canadians feel, I'd also have to be honest with you, and I would ask the Canadians see the big picture, the long-term picture, and what's in the best interest of the free world, Western economies, and of course, the free democracies of the world. Make no question about it, China's long-term value here is finding a way to manipulate the game, overthrow the US dollar, and reinsert either the BRICS gold dollar or the Chinese yuan. Make no question about it. In Canada, you simply have a role to understand whether you are going to be on the right side or the wrong side of history. Thanks for joining me here. It's Brian here at the Economic Report. Thank you for liking and subscribing, because those things matter quite a bit to me, and I'm sorry to have to ask you every single episode for this, but it does wonders for the YouTube algorithm, and it sends the same story out to other people just like you. Thanks for joining me here, and I want to remind you that the sponsor of this particular episode is Policy Genius. Protect the people who you care about with life insurance, because this life insurance policy, there's one for everybody depending on what your needs, whether it's term, whether it's whole life, whether it's universal. Policy Genius has a policy that'll help you take care of your assets and protect the ones you care about. Thanks for joining me, folks. Remember, the biggest battle you fight is the one between your ears of your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. Have a great day, and I'll catch you next episode. Thank you.